This dark stain brings out the patterning so nicely. Hey guys, it's Christina, and today we are going to be flipping this old kind of cheap mirror. These mirrors are great for dorm rooms and things like that, but once you're out of college, you kind of want something with a little more class to it, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. And I did that just by removing the old frame, and then during this process, you should be a little more careful, and I broke the mirror a little bit, so I ended up cutting the glass just to get a nice straight edge again. When cutting glass, make sure to be very careful, wear gloves, eye protection, and I'm just using a glass cutter, and you can get this from any hardware store. After cutting, I just gave my mirror a good clean, and then I measured the exact dimensions of the mirror so I could create my frame for it. When creating a frame for anything, you use 45-degree angles, and I'm using a miter saw and just turning the saw to the 45-degree angle and cutting down. When cutting, you want to make sure after your cut that the blade is completely done moving before you pick up the saw. After cutting one side, then you just turn the opposite 45-degree angle and make your second cut. And now you have a beautiful 45-degree angle piece for one side of your frame. Also, always remember to measure twice and cut once, as they always say, just because it's very easy to make some mistakes if you're trying to rush. After I was done making all my cuts, I just lined up my pieces to make sure that they all fit together nicely. Then I measured the dimensions of the frame so I could create a backboard to it. Once everything fit together nicely, I just sanded down any rough edges of any pieces. And then it was time to glue the frame together. I'm just using wood glue to secure my frame. You can use hardware if you'd like, but to make it easier, I'm just using glue. I also secure the corners with some painter's tape just to create some tension. After each piece was glued together, I just loaded up the edges with glue and placed it down on the backboard. Now it's time for what we all came for, and it's the stenciling. I chose this border stencil that just fits so perfectly along the edges of the frame, and I chose a tan and white shade to mix together to do the stenciling, so it's very subtle right now, but once we apply the stain, you'll soon see the amazing outcome. I did apply a spray adhesive to stick that stenciling to the wood. And now I'm applying a hickory stain using a rag to the whole entire frame. And this is when you really start to see that stenciling pattern show through, because the stain really absorbs into the wood and the paint kind of blocks that. Once the piece is all stained, I just applied some adhesive to that middle section so we can place down our mirror. The moment of truth is to see if that mirror fits in at the end, and it's the best feeling when it just fits so perfectly. Adding this frame to this piece really stepped it up a lot. The stenciled border adds so much texture to that wooden border, and it just pops so much more than the old plastic one. I absolutely love how this mirror turned out, and I cannot wait to find a spot for it. Head to our website to check out more of our stencils, and don't forget to tag us on social media with your stencil art.